Okay, so this is how we approach our answering of the question on A Christmas Carol in the exam. So this particular one is from the most recent exam series and asks about the theme of greed in the novel, starting with the extract where Scrooge is dealing with Belle. Okay, now our first sentence essentially establishes for our examiner that we are both going to deal with the extract and also deal with the novel as a whole. Okay, so these are essentially signpost phrases. So I like to use, that's a signpost by the way, should probably look a little bit more like a signpost. So these particular, these phrases of the extract and the novel as a whole, what I'm essentially doing here, particularly with my use of the word microcosm, is I'm suggesting that the extract is a good choice of extract, so well done examiners, because it reflects Scrooge's purpose and personality in the novel as a whole. Okay? Um, and then I'm also making a kind of subtle reference to the theme. And notice that I don't necessarily have to use the word greed, which is in the question. I could talk about choices regarding money versus human connection. And I can also talk about reckless pursuit of gain at the expense of his relationships. So in that kind of opening two sentences, I'm essentially laying the foundation that I'm talking about the extract, yes. I'm talking about the novel as a whole, yes. And I'm making a hint towards what the theme is. Okay, so I've made the point that Scrooge's choices, money versus human destiny, money versus human connection, define his destiny. In the extract, so again, I'm signaling to my examiner that I'm now going into the extract itself. Scrooge already demonstrates his capacity to rationalize reckless pursuit of gain at the expense of his relationships. When Dickens describes his, and I've gone straight into quoting. Okay, so my AO2 starts really early on. So I've said what my point is going to be. I've kind of laid the foundation of what my essay is all about with my AO1 sentences. Then I've launched straight into AO2 with some quotations. Eager, greedy, restless motion in the eye, suggesting that even in his prime, his desire for wealth has begun to consume him. Okay, so desire for wealth, I'm linking once again to my theme. I'm making it undeniably clear to my examiner that I'm answering the given question. I'm not just going off on my own. The asyndetic excess of adjectives hyperbolizing this. Okay, so asyndetic adjectives, hyperbole. So I've literally got 3 bits of terminology all in one there. Okay, which is, you don't technically need to be laying the terminology on so thick. It's just, it is that combination of things which is creating the effect. Okay, so asyndetic, meaning that there's no connecting words between these adjectives. Excess, obviously there's 3, which is more than you really need. They are adjectives: eager, greedy, restless, and it's creating hyperbole because of the excess in them. Okay, so a really kind of neat, tight way of expressing that. Bell's words reinforce this idea. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting to build an argument. If I just give one example of something, it's okay. But if I can say, here's one example, here's another example of it, and then I can use phrases like reinforce, support, bolster, any of those kind of verbs that indicate that there is extra work being done, it shows that I'm aware of the extract as a whole, the novel as a whole. I'm looking beyond just individual isolated examples. She tells Scrooge that his nobler aspirations, notice that I'm embedding my quotations, his nobler aspirations have fallen away, leaving only his pursuit of gain. Okay, so my embedded quotations there are showing off to my examiner I've got real skill with using my quotations well, which is an AO1 skill. Here, Dickens personifies, again, so I've got my terminology there, personifies greed with the capital G, because it has become a proper noun here, rendering it a master passion, again, embedded quotations, look at them all, there's a whole bunch of them, and suggesting that it has taken control of Scrooge's life, replacing his ability to love and find happiness in relationships. Bell's claim that another idol has displaced her, so notice the way that I'm embedding my quotation here means that it wouldn't make sense to say another idol has displaced me. If I say Bell's claim that another idol has displaced me, wouldn't make sense. So Bell's claim that another idol has displaced her, that's how I'm embedding that quotation. Square brackets because I've changed something within it. A golden one is particularly significant. Dickens, so here's my explanation of this quotation. Dickens metaphorically, terminology, equates money to a false god in the word idle. So a really nifty technique is to zoom in on quotations that you've used, longer quotations, so you can focus on specific language, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of show off a little bit more kind of deep analysis. Highlighting the spiritual emptiness of Scrooge's obsession with wealth. This reflects the Christian moral message of the novel. Greed leads to isolation, while generosity and kindness bring fulfillment. Notice of the novel, okay? So I'm doing the novel as a whole again. I'm linking back out, which is a really important thing to be doing to show that I'm not just focusing on the extract. The extract is free quotations, you know, it is free stuff that you don't have to have memorized, but you still need to be making a link out to the rest of the novel. Such an attitude is in keeping with Dickens's concept of so-called practical Christianity, focusing more on Christian values in action than worship. So if you look at this final section of my paragraph, I'm doing my context, aren't I? Okay. This reflects the Christian moral message, Dickens's concept of practical Christianity. So I'm doing my little AO3 there, and it is tightly linked to the point that I've just made, which is that this use of the word idle, talking about spiritual emptiness, reflecting the Christian message and specifically practical Christianity. So I've built from my point about idle all the way to Christianity and Dickens's own practical Christianity. So this final couple of sentences of the paragraph make it really clear that my AO3 is linked to the rest of the piece. Okay, so this is only my first paragraph. As I move forward with my essay, I would want to be talking more on the rest of the novel. Okay, so the question specifically is worded with, you know, starting with this extract. That doesn't mean that you have to do your first paragraph on the extract, but it's a nice place to start to kind of gain yourself some momentum. You start with the quotations that are there. You don't have to call them into your memory. You can just quite simply analyze those quotations as they come up, like it's an unseen extract. Okay, so as you move forward with the essay, though, you are going to need to make more of the rest of the novel. So you might want to go elsewhere and think, okay, might I go back to the first stave and talk about Scrooge's, explicit rejection of the opportunity to give to charity? Could we talk about Scrooge's kind of reluctance to give money to the carol singer, instead kind of physically assaulting him? Could we talk about him rejecting family in the name of sticking with his work so he can make more money over the Christmas period? Could we talk about him very reluctantly letting his employee Bob have the day off for Christmas because it's going to mean a loss in terms of profits? We could kind of jump back into stave one as a really nice place to start. Then we might want to go elsewhere and maybe contrast him with Fezziwig. Obviously, Fezziwig being such a great foil for Scrooge in terms of being a businessman, but also a decent human being. We could then kind of carry it forward and see the effect of the visitations that he has on the final stave, and look at how his perspective on greed and generosity has completely changed. So that's kind of where we might explore it in terms of looking at the rest of the novel. In terms of the structure of the paragraph, I'm really happy with it. Okay, so I've got my AO1 where I'm building my argument. I've got my AO2 where I'm quoting repeatedly and doing lots of really nice analysis, and I'm linking out to AO3 at the ends of my paragraph, making really sure that they are linked to what I'm doing. Okay, so it's just one paragraph, but a nice overview of where we would go with the rest of this essay if we had the chance. All of it wrapped up in under 10 minutes.